Hello, beautiful woman. Today we're talking about transforming habits. We're going to talk about how habits form and how to change them. So I am sorry, I just want to apologize straight off about my rather deep, croaky voice. Since we moved back from India to Australia with a change of seasons, I have some hay fever and it's definitely affecting my vocal cords. So I apologize for my rather croaky voice through this video. So habits. How many days does it take to change a habit? Well, we know from research that the average number of days it takes to change a habit is 66. This was from some European research done about 10 years ago. And obviously this varies widely depending on a number of factors, the behavior of the person themselves, their circumstances, their environment, but also their beliefs. And I'm going to share with you later on in this video how your beliefs actually affect your behaviors and your habits. So why do our habits fail? What are the reasons that for most people the habits fail? Well, in my experience, there's a number of reasons why our habits fail. The first one really is that we try to change everything at once. We start too big, we try and implement too many habit changes at once, and we start too big and we end up getting overwhelmed. And then instead of kind of cutting back by one or two things, we actually just throw in the towel and say, that's it, I'm giving this whole thing up, it's not going to work. The other reason that a change of habits actually fails is that we tend to be focused on the outcome rather than the behavior. So what happens is we believe that the small changes that we're making don't actually add up. And we are so busy focusing on what we want to achieve. And if we don't achieve it immediately or very soon, in other words, because we live in this world of instant gratification, we're so used to achieving things quickly. If we don't get what we want straight away, we don't start seeing results straight away, we end up just again throwing in the towel. So it's almost like we're too focused on the outcome rather than the behavior. So we're almost tricked by magical thinking into believing that we can and that we need to do too much too quickly. We actually overestimate the importance of the outcome or the one defining moment, and we underestimate the value of making better decisions. So our desire to achieve, and most of us have a desire to achieve, obviously, to achieve results actually quickly fools us into thinking that our results is the only prize, that we have to have that outcome and we have to have that outcome really quickly. So as I say, we focus on the outcome rather than the behavior. So probably the most important reason why habits fail, why habit changes fail for most people, is that our current habits and behaviors are simply a reflection of our current identity. In other words, our habits and behaviors are a reflection of what we believe about ourselves. So what we do now and the way that we behave now is just a mirror image of the type of person that we believe we are. Whether consciously or subconsciously, there's just a mirror image of who we believe we are. So if we believe that we're the type of person who can be fit and strong and healthy and the weight that we want to be, for example, if we believe that about ourselves, we will end up acting that out in our lives and being able to enter into habits and behaviors that support that. So we know from neuroscience that our memories, that the memories and our associated emotions, so the memories we've had in our lives, that we know from neuroscience that these memories and these emotions are actually stored in the body cells, right? They're stored in the body cells and called cellular memory. So the unconscious mind and the body cells, neuroscience is now telling us, are actually interchangeable things. In other words, they're one and the same. That we'd like to think of the unconscious mind as part of the brain, as part of the mind, but it's actually not. It's very much part of the whole body, part of the central nervous system. So what happens is we have these experiences in life, we have these memories, and we have emotions that are associated with these memories. And the body cells start to become addicted to these emotions, just like they would drugs. So these emotions start to become part of who we believe we are. So I'll give you an example. There's a little girl whose father is a workaholic, and he's always working, and his belief is that you have to work hard to get anywhere in life. And he values himself for only how much he works. And he has an absolute fear about being lazy. So when he sees his daughter sitting around relaxing, he tells her all the time that she's lazy. And so after a while, this little girl starts to believe that she is lazy. She starts to have this belief, this inherent belief, I am lazy. And she starts to see this in all the situations in her life. She starts to believe this at a cellular or unconscious level. So when we fast forward to her adult life, she decides one day that she's going to change the habit of being lazy and sitting around and wants to get fit. So she starts going to the gym, she starts running, she starts kind of getting out there. But she notices after a period of time, and this is true for her every time she tries to do this, that she starts well, but then after a few days or weeks, it all kind of falls apart and she loses motivation. And this is because the belief, I am lazy, in her cells, in her body cells, in her unconscious mind, is overriding on an unconscious level and starting to bring into her, pushing from her unconscious into her conscious mind, into her conscious awareness, thoughts that start to justify the I am lazy belief. So can you see how hard it is for us to actually change a habit that is based around a belief that we have about ourselves? Because our body and our unconscious mind are fighting us every step of the way. So how do we go about changing these beliefs so that we can change our habits? Well, the key to building lasting habits is focusing on creating a new identity first. So in other words, to change a behavior for good, we need to start believing new things about ourselves. So how do we go about doing this? Well, remember I said to you that the unconscious mind and the body can't tell the difference between what is perceived and what is real. So for example, when we relive a negative event in our lives, the unconscious mind and the body don't know that this is not happening to us over and over and over again. All right? That's how trauma gets lodged into the cells of the body, because the trauma happens once, and then the reliving of that trauma actually allows that trauma to get lodged into the body cells and into the unconscious mind and into the memory. Now, it's the same for positive experiences. If we want to change our habits, we have to change who we are. And that means changing the beliefs we have so that we can change the bodies at a cellular memory level. In other words, we have to rewrite the unconscious programmings that are going on in our minds. So I just want to say this one more time. The key to building lasting habits is to focus on creating a new identity first. And then once we've created that new identity, is to start small and to change our habits so that we reinforce this new belief into our lives, into our cellular memory, into our unconscious mind. So how do we create this new identity? Well, there's a whole process that we follow when we go through the whole changing of limiting beliefs and changing who we are, when I do this in the groups and in the one-to-ones. But the first thing that we do is that we have to get in touch, we have to connect with this new identity, with this, what I call the best self. So I'm going to leave you today with one question. Who is your best self? I want you to close your eyes just for a moment, and I want you to visualize and imagine that standing in front of you is your best self. This is the woman who you've always wanted to be, who you have been at some times or periods in your life. I want you to visualize or see, what does she look like? What does she wear? What does she say? What does she do? How does she act? What are her habits and behaviors? How do people respond to her? Getting in touch with your best self is just the first step in changing who we are, but it's such a powerful step. Just connecting and just being able to visualize and bring to life your best self is so important as we start to move towards changing our habits and changing our old beliefs and letting them go. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to post below this video. How was that for you? Are you able to connect with your best self? And what is she like? Please share with us below. I'd love to bring this conversation to life and to help many of you to start to really get a shift towards creating and connecting with your best self. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope it was insightful. And I look forward to continuing this conversation. Sending you so much love. Bye for now.